Hey there, guys. This is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tasuke, and continuing with my journey through the original Dragon Ball movies, at least the ones I haven't seen yet, I am going to be reviewing Dragon Ball Movie 3 Mystical Adventure. I actually just finished watching it, like literally um, just a few moments ago. And I've done Movie 2, Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle already, so if you want to watch that, feel free to do that one as well. And my buddy Troy, he's all like, you should do Curse of the Blood Rubies, so I'm gonna do Curse of the Blood Rubies as well. Which that was the first thing of Dragon Ball I ever saw, so that'll be interesting. And I've seen it plenty of times, and I'll have to try and make it a little more interesting. I might watch the sub. I'm thinking about maybe doing like an entire review of just all of Dragon Ball, like at least the anime and the other movies, since I'm kind of doing a trend since I've reviewed all of Super, and I did Kai. Even if I don't think I did a formal review of the first part of Kai, but I know I did for the final chapters. So we'll see, but that's definitely going to be a long-term project if I even decide to do that, and I'm going to have to find some way to make it a little more interesting. Probably have to watch the sub for some of the movies because a lot of it I've seen, and I would do it by the arc as well. So that would be, kind of like what I was doing for the Saint Seiya review, which I need to get back to that, but different subject. Kind of salty about that, but we're talking about Dragon Ball now, so I'm not salty anymore. But yeah, this movie, Mystical Adventure, it's the third Dragon Ball movie, and this one is I like Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. I never saw it. I remember hearing about it and seeing like the commercials for the dubs of both movies because I remember they announced them around the same time. Um, they still got the same woman before Stephanie Nadonley. Again, I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. I think her name's like Cecile Deliago or something, I believe. Again, butchering the names, but she's back as Goku, and Chris Sabat's doing the narration still. Pilaf sounded different. I think it was Chuck Huber. It was hard to tell, and otherwise, the cast was close to, if not the same as the regular Dragon Ball dub, and I mean like the one that was on Cartoon Network after Z and whatnot, sort of like what the full English dub Dragon Ball cast. So like Tiffany Vollmer finally came back, or I say came back, but um, I don't think this was her first time voicing Bulma at this point, but she was Bulma this time around. Chris Kaysen, and I'm saying it like that because I remember when I was watching the movie, I said Casey Kaysen. Like, no, Chris Kaysen is doing Tien this time around instead of John Bergmeyer. They sound pretty close, but you can definitely tell. And Chao Tzu is his original actor. He was one of the ones who got replaced during the video game era with Brina Palencia. Um, so, but the movie opens in terms of where Goku is. It's right around the time before the martial arts tournament. In fact, it's after they've more or less completed their training. They kind of, I don't remember exactly how it went in the original story, so I think they might have kind of mixed stuff around to kind of make the pace of the movie flow better. But basically, it kind of opens with like the opening, which shows a nice new animation, which I actually kind of liked. I thought it was nice looking, and they play the English version of Mystical Adventure, Makafushigi. By the way, yeah, literally the name of the movie is also the name of the theme song. Um, so I'll just call it Makafushigi for the time being. But they play that, and they play the English version that they play throughout the dub, and I liked that because I remember in Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle they played the Japanese version, but it was in kind of low quality. That's still kind of present because at the end of the movie they play another song. I'm actually gonna look it up because I didn't really get a chance to really. I could kind of hear, but not really. Um, but I want to hear the full thing. They didn't dub that song. They had the subtitles on. Again, I'm watching the movie 4-pack that came with the redub of Curse of the Blood Rubies. That's the version I watched. I don't know if there's any mastering difference. I think it was even in like 4:3 if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I don't think they would have done widescreen. at that point, because this is only the third Dragon Ball movie. I know they did the widescreen for the actual Dragon Ball Z movies, but anyway, so it opens up with Goku and Krillin finishing their training. They do the whole like, we move the rock, so teaches. Oh well, I actually taught you my moves without even teaching you them. Did the whole milk thing, and they do the like jump really high, and they jump really high. It's like, now let's do the tournament. Okay, let's do the tournament. This time it's a different kind. I think it's still technically the World Martial Arts Tournament, the Tenkaichi Budokai. But it's sort of structured a little differently. I think it's in a different location, instead of Papaya Island. It's sort of like this weird, like, I don't want to say weird, but it's like more like a little kingdom island. This is where the story kind of gets a little interesting. Chaozu is the king of this island, and he's got Tien as like his servant steward or whatever, and Master Shin, or the Crane Hermit, is like, I guess, like their strategist or he's some sort of like military executive. General Blue is one of their generals, and then they've also got that red-haired Terminator robot, Arnold Schwarzenegger looking robot guy that Goku fought during the snow section of the Red Ribbon Army arc. And then they've got Tao Pai Pai. He's in this as well. Like, in fact, you'll see this movie. When I saw the cover, I was expecting to see obviously Goku, Arale from Dr. Slump, the two green-haired peeps, and Tao Pai Pai, because they're all three of them, or all six of them, I guess I'll say. I might 5. Sorry, I'm bad at math. It's 4 a.m. All 5 of them are on the cover, so I was kind of expecting to see them. Arale doesn't really show up for very long. It's really only during the round 2 of the Goku and the Tao Pai Pai fight. But so basically, what's going on is that the Crane Hermit is trying to find the Dragon Balls, because and he says, "Oh, we're trying to find the Dragon Ball so Chaozu can find his missing wife," which we'll get to the wife in a minute. So they're trying to find the Dragon Balls there. And then Bulma and Yamcha and Oolong and Puar, they show up, and they're looking for the Dragon Balls as well. They don't really specify what it is they're looking for. I think they're just kind of looking for like probably their own wishes and whatnot. But they show up and they get brought into this conflict. I think they have 1 or 2, I think, or rather, the Crane Hermit's army suspects that they have some or something, but basically they shoot at her, and so she gets kind of spiteful. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna fucking go get your Dragon Balls, because of course they know where they are. So like they were gonna go anyway. So it's kind of both a mix of spite of being attacked and like, oh, we'll show you. We're gonna break into your place and steal your Dragon Balls, and also because they also want the fucking Dragon Balls. And also the Native Americans. I think Bora and Upo, I think. I know I literally just watched the movie, but I can't remember their names. But it's the same one that Tao Pai Pai kills, the father that gets killed in the original series. They have the 4-star ball. And of course Tao Pai Pai kills General Blue with the tongue thing. Like, they do show, like, Curse of the Blood Rubies and, or not even really Sleeping Princess and Devils. Like, that one's probably the most original, maybe. This one's pretty original too, and from the standpoint of like them switching out a lot of stuff. But basically, yeah, Goku is able to get the 4-star ball, because they all kind of convene at like this dinner place before the tournament, because Bora and his kid come in to get some food, and like it's like, we don't have money, but we have gold. Here you go. And then of course our King Chaozu's army. I was about to say the Red Ribbon Army, because that's basically what it is, but it's more like King Chaozu's army. They come in and all like, Native American guy, give us your Dragon Ball. And that starts the whole fight. Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in, Tao Pai Pai comes in, and I thought they were gonna kill off Bora right then and there, but they end up not. And because Master Roshi's all like, he's a guest, he's gonna be in the tournament. And it's like, okay, well, I guess he's a guest for our tournament then. So he actually competes in the tournament. And the way they do the tournament's kind of interesting. It's almost kind of like I don't know if you'd call it a round robin or whatever, but like it's more like all these fighters in like a little line. It's kind of interesting. Like they'll pick two. They pick Yamcha and like this giant guy, and Yamcha beats up the giant guy, and so they it's a bunch of other fighters are like, oh, we don't want to fight, so they leave, and then it's up to Bora. So it's Yamcha and Bora. And I was actually I thought that would be kind of interesting to kind of see them fight. And it doesn't really last that long because Master Roshi pulls some fucking like, your flyers are open. He's like, what? And like Yamcha gets sent flying. I was like, really? Like that was I would have maybe delayed that. I think it would have been better if they show them fight a little bit more, especially if they were trying to make it seem like they were evenly matched. Because even though Bora was defending against Yamcha's attacks relatively well, Yamcha was being kind of relentless, and I feel like it was kind of leading towards Yamcha might win. In that situation, that's sort of the way I saw it. But Bora, he defeats Yamcha, and he's all like, and no one else wants to fight him. Not even Goku or Krillin, which I find kind of interesting. I'm wondering if maybe like there was a team thing. Because I find it interesting that like they didn't even bother trying to fight out, or maybe like it was a preliminary thing. Like maybe like it's one of those things where the tournament gets interrupted, or but Tao Pai Pai jumps in and is all like, I'm going to fight you, and then he grabs Bora by the arms like, where's the Dragon Ball? And of course, like they'd given it to Goku. It's like, my son nor myself have it. It's like, oh, I see. And he kills Bora, by impaling him on a statue. So he's dead. And Goku gets mad, so he tries to fight Tao Pai Pai, but Tao Pai Pai, and he's called General Tao. I think this might be maybe where the whole General Tao thing started, because I know like. I think in a couple episodes of Z, in filler, he was called General Tao. I think that might have just been because Funimation just assumed. But of course, obviously, they changed it to Mercenary Tao in the Dragon Ball dub. And I imagine if they ever do a Kai, or if they were to redub the entire thing and try to be like really accurate, they would probably go with Mercenary Tao if they could. And so then the Bulma's group, they break in to the palace, Chaozu's palace, by Oolong turns into the Crane Hermit, and Puar turns into Chaozu. So they break in, they try to get the Dragon Balls that way. And then Goku, he gets sent flying through up to Korin's tower. And they kind of imply, they were talking kind of familiar. And it was almost like, I found it kind of, I don't know if maybe it was one of those things where like maybe like off screen they talk to each other, but Goku addresses him by Korin when he leaves after getting a speech about like, you need to clear your mind, look at this symbolism in the water. And I found that kind of interesting. I kind of had to sort of rethink a little bit on that, because I'm so used to Dragon Ball Z, so I feel like, oh well, Goku would know that, like, but at the same time, one, it's Goku, and two, this is Dragon Ball where he's a kid, so Goku, I mean, eternal student and all, but like the idea that Goku's still kind of learning or fine-tuning his martial arts fundamentals, I guess, and then comes around to where they go to where Arale is, and they fight there. The way they ultimately kill Tao Pai Pai is through like backfiring of like these rockets, because like it's one of those like Tao Pai Pai does the Dodon Ray. Goku's able to deflect it because he gets a Sensu Bean, and I guess maybe they were trying to sort of throw in Zenkai, but so. And then Tao Pai Pai's like, oh, I can't beat them by real force. I have to like outsmart them. And of course, his idea of outsmarting them is getting on a fucking rocket, being like, I'm gonna stop, or not a rocket. He does do the pillar thing where like he breaks the pillar and like sends it flying, then jumps on it. But here he's got like a little, what do you call it? Like a little cruiser thingy with rockets on. And he's like, I'm gonna stop being evil. And he goes up to Goku and is all like, that was a good show, kid. And of course he nabs the bag that's supposed to have the Dragon Ball in it. And then he runs off and he shoots like these rockets behind him, but Goku and Arale like knock them back. And that's how Tao Pai Pai is killed. He doesn't show up again. And it's around this point as well. Really after the after all like the because like Arnold Schwarzenegger, again I don't remember his name. I think he's like the first android technically, or he's the precursor to the android, because I mean if you want to count android number 8er, which I know he's going to be in Path to Power, which will be the next one I'll watch later on whenever I decide to do that. But it's then revealed, or like Crane Herman's basically all like, I didn't tell you. He's literally like, oh, you don't know why I wanted the Dragon Balls? I was trying to take over the throne. I was like, damn. Chaozu gets all sad. Tien was apparently in on it as well. But his character arc, or his development in this movie, he's not really a bad guy and sort of like just a ruthless martial artist like he is in the original. He shifts to the good side a lot quicker. He's instructed to kill Chaozu, and he's like, I can't do it. And he's like, well, fine, I'll kill him. And he's gonna Dodon Ray Chaozu, but then Tien does his fucking Kikoho, and it's all like, bam! And I thought it looked kind of cool. Obviously, he has Tri-Beam. And that's how the Crane Herman is killed. And then, in order to kill the big Arnold Schwarzenegger robot guy, who has, I think it's Oppa, or Upa. I just watched it, and I can't... His name is like the one I'm actually blanking on. Like everyone else, but I mean, like, besides Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm just calling him that. Like, for those who actually don't know who I'm referring to, it's the big guy with the sunglasses and the red hair, who they show is at least mechanical, because Goku knocks his robotic head off and he puts it back on. Master Roshi, I think, knocks his arm off at some point, but he's got like the little Native American boy, and he's about to like crush him, and he even's like wrecked, and he's about to like, I'm pretty sure he said wrecked. And he slams down, or he's about to slam down, but Goku comes in, shoots through him, and like and kills him that way. And so all the bad guys are defeated, and they decide, hey, or Goku's all like, hey, let's use the Dragon Balls to revive Bora. The problem is that while they were trying to escape from, because when Bulma opens up where the Dragon Balls are, always like this weird like statue thing that has Dragon Balls in its mouth. Like there's this alarm goes off, so they already know that like, hey, someone's trying to steal the Dragon Balls. And to cut things kind of short, I guess or to get to the point rather, the Dragon Balls fall into like a watery chasm or ravine or whatever. I don't think a ravine technically. So like they don't know how to get to it. Even Chaozu's all like, even our best subs can't go down there. And Goku decides, oh, well, here's an idea. And he tosses the 4-star ball into the water. And he's all like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, well. And Kron's like, oh, I know what you're doing. If we can't bring the Dragon Balls to us, bring that Dragon Ball to them. Like, he basically is trying to bring them all together so he can summon the Dragon Ball. Summon the dragon. I'm going crazy. Summons the dragon and make the wish that way. And of course it works. And they wish Bora back. And it's during the credits when that happens. So Bora comes back, and then Goku flies off on the Nimbus, and everything's A-okay. So that was my kind of shitty explanation of the story. I probably maybe should have waited to let the movie kind of digest, like my late night burger did. But I like the movie overall. I'll be honest, I don't remember how I felt about Goku's voice and Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. I vaguely remember being kind of okay with it, but here, like, I wasn't really into it. She sounded like she was trying to kind of be too, like, her inflection was kind of weird. She wasn't really emoting in a sort of a way that I felt was appropriate. Everyone else was okay. Um, Obviously, like Pilaf sounded kind of subtle. Again, I don't know if it was Chuck Huber or not. Tao Pai Pai I think sounded the best. Um, I think this might be Kent Williams' first time doing Tao Pai Pai, but he sounded pretty good. I thought if when he first does the Dunner, I thought he said Dodon Pa, and he might have. I might have to maybe listen again. I had to turn up the volume pretty loud to hear everything properly because I wanted to make sure because I had a heater on as well. So, the script was pretty good. I didn't have the subtitles on, and obviously I haven't watched the subbed version, so I don't know how accurate it truthfully is. It seemed mostly accurate. There were a few like dub lines I didn't really like. Like Chromie talking about how like you can't pick up chicks with like fucking turtle shell. Like I didn't really like that. Some of the stuff Goku said I didn't like. There was another line I wasn't too big on. I don't remember who said it. But I remember it might have been Bulma who said it. I don't remember, but I remember there was one line where I was just all like, eh. And I remember while I was watching, I was thinking like, yeah, I don't like that. But so yeah, basically like standard Dragon Ball fare for the time. This is. I thought it was a pretty decent dub overall. Like that's probably the one thing I would maybe if I were to maybe change one thing, it would be probably to, I guess at this point, calling Klinkenbeard doing Goku. But if ideally, I'd love to get Stephanie Donnelly back. So I think she's actually probably the best Kid Goku. If you were to ask me if who's better as Gohan, I would say Colin Klinkenbeard, but I think Miss Stephanie is better as Kid Goku because I feel like she complements Sean Schimmel's adult Goku in terms of like how she portrays the character. But I'm pretty sure she's in Path to Power. I think Path to Power is more like refined era of Dragon Ball dubs. I don't know, because I feel like they might have been recording Mystical Adventure and Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle around the same time. Like I said, Chris Sabat is still the narrator. So, but I actually kind of liked it. I sort of liked the setting, and I found the story kind of interesting, and I liked the different takes on the characters like King Chaozu and whatnot. I liked the new tournament location, and kind of the structure of it was kind of interesting. I might maybe... It kind of almost reminded me a little bit of what they had been doing with Mortal Kombat 9, sort of, in terms of the structure of the sort of, very, very loosely. But I found that kind of interesting. Again, from what I could heard of that ending theme song, I like it, and I like the new opening. I'm saying new in air quotes because it's Maka Fushigi, but it's like a new animated intro. So like different picture basically. Some of the scenery as well. Like there was this cool golden dragon thing they showed, which I think was sort of like an architecture thing, but that looked really cool. I thought it looked really cool. What else? I think that's more or less it. Overall, it was pretty good. The movie seemed to go by really fast. It seemed like a quicker pace than Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. I almost want to say I like that one better. I'm nostalgic about Curse of the Blood Rubies, and I still have yet to see Path to Power, so we'll have to see. But honestly, it's that actually now that I think about it, that one might actually be widescreen because that one is actually that was like the last one they actually made before Battle of Gods. So, or I guess before Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans, technically, which I guess I could review that too if you guys want. We'll see. But I liked this movie. I thought it was pretty good. It was a nice little watch, and it was nice to watch more Dragon Ball. I really like the setting. I think that's sort of the main thing. I really like the setting. I definitely like the setting more than in Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. The only other thing I maybe would have liked is if we had like an original enemy. And maybe some more screen time with General Blue. Like I think they maybe should have taken advantage of some of these other characters that they had. The story itself I actually kind of liked. It was sort of like a weird mix of the tournament arc before King Piccolo, where they meet Tien, and the Red Ribbon. And I say that mainly just because it's you know, Tao Pai Pai is there for one thing, and of course, Crane, Hermit, and all that. It wasn't really a true mix because one, like all the Red Revan stuff gets wrapped up pretty quickly, including Tao Pai Pai. Um, and even they even shoe in Arale, and she doesn't even show up that much at all. So, I mean, it was good. I'd say probably the one. It's not really a negative, but the movie was really fast. I know it's like only a 40-minute movie, so I'm not expecting it to like be super long. But I think maybe it would have been better if they had maybe slowed up the pace a little bit and maybe had an original enemy, just on the grounds of being different. I think because I think if you're gonna kind of play around with the characters a little bit and make Chaozu a fucking king, you might as well do something fun with it. But yeah, pretty good movie. And next will be Path to Power, which I've actually got an interesting sort of experience with that one, which I'll talk about whenever I watch that. I don't know when it's going to be, but one more to go, and then I will have watched all the Dragon Ball movies. Of course, I still need to do Curse of the Blood Rubies, and I might just watch that one again. We've riffed it on the podcast, so if you want to listen to that, there's that. And we watched the old dub, too. So I'll have seen the 3 different versions by the time we get to that. But yeah, pretty good movie. This is Flamsauronic Sasuke signing out. See you later.